Conversating? Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Yep, conversating with Pops and Ade.
Well, I'm Peter J. Harris.
And I'm Adenike A. Harris. And this is Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Let's go.
Let's get started.
Hey, I'm so happy to be back today with you guys. Welcome back to Conversating with Pops and Ade.
Yes, yes.
Today's
I'm Pops.
episode, yes, he is Pops, I'm Ade. For those of you who know me.
I'm Peter J. Harris.
Right, officially he's Peter J. Harris. Officially, I am Adenike Harris.
Okay,
so today's episode is about my father's amazing project. I'm so proud of this project. For the past 2 years, he has been working on this project called SeeYou247. I don't know where it came from. I don't know all those details. That's what he's here for, to let you know. But I will say this is a poem that he wrote and read at the world stage. And I have recorded it's on our Instagram page. So if you're on our Instagram, go there. You can also see it on YouTube. It's called Praise Song for the Anonymous Brothers. You guys understand how long it took me to get the name of that poem, right? So I am really proud that I was able to say it correctly. But it is a beautiful poem because it has, what is it, a chorus you call it, Dad?
It's a refrain. It has a refrain that says, see you, see you, see you.
And he's like, see you, black man.
Oh, no, that's not. Oh,
that's not how it sounds, but this is me when I clown my dad when he do his poems. Because if y'all remember other episodes we talk about how he be rocking, he feel the rhythm in his, when he's doing his poems. So today I really want you, Pops, I want to give you a little bit more time and the floor to open up and just talk about what is SeeYou247? What is this project that you are doing, and what are your goals with it, and how does it relate to other people? Like, how can they, get connected?
Sure.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so short and sweet and lovely. SeeYou247. It's really about finding historical photographs of Black men and boys emanating a sense of joy.
Say that
emanating
again.
Yes, it's about finding historical photos of Black men and boys emanating a sense of joy. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that turn of phrase, which is not mine, but it definitely was sparked by my research. And I'm going to give a little mini cliffhanger. We'll come back to that story. So why historical photos? Because, when I started this work many years ago, and the project, Black Man of Happiness project, started in 2010, but, for 20 plus years or so, I have been, nurturing this quest. I've written about this theme, poems, essays, etc.
Yeah.
But I always had in my mind, I know that there are photos of Black men and boys looking happy, is what I was saying in the old days, but I couldn't find them.
Because the fun part I'm sorry to jump in, but I'm thinking about how when you started the project, the Black Men of Happiness project, it was really about, a time where, well, why are we always focusing on Black men, as thugs or not being happy? It's like, well, what is a happy Black man? And I remember you doing that project, and I remember you asking that question.
Yes.
And because the thing about it is, and even now we can think about in 2021, the social unrest and civil unrest that we're in, it's like, because the Black men have always been identified and demonized, it's like, well, what is happiness when it comes to Black men? And so I've always just been really proud of you for doing that. And so now, you're welcome. So now how you have begun to not only take that original project, and then now you're branching off to, because like you said, there has to be historical photos, even in the midst of pain, of men emanating a sense of joy. And so so now I'm excited. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, I honestly, I did my own research, but I wasn't a good researcher, frankly. And this is, I want to say that this is like a local library success story. And I say it that way because the person who coined that term is a librarian. And we met in 2018, 17, I can't even remember now. And she was assigned to help me begin to research. And we all had a meeting, and she said, well, what are you looking for, Peter? And I said, I'm looking for pictures, historical photos of black men and boys, and they look happy. If they feel like they're happy, you know what I mean?
Smiling or something.
They smiling, just they read as happiness. I said, but the main thing is, I don't want them to be I don't want them to be celebrities, and I don't want them to be athletes. I just want them to be round the way people, rural people, urban people, blah, blah, blah. So I'm in this meeting with these two librarians at the Altadena Library, Central Library. Actually, yeah. And they were talking. And so the librarian said, okay, we got it, bro. They dapped me. And one of them,
you? For real,
yeah,
they dapped
of course they dapped, you know me. So she went away and began. The first letter she wrote said, I got a patron here looking for black pictures, historical pictures of black men and boys emanating a sense of joy.
That was it for you.
Her name is Helen Kate. And I told her point blank, I said, all these years I've been looking for a perfect turn of phrase. And she just wrote it casually. She didn't even see it as a neon lettering. She didn't see it jumping off the page. Anyway, since then, it has become just an absolutely perfect framing device. And it just sparks, it breaks all circuits. Yeah, when you say it, emanating a sense of joy. And what does it do also? It means that when we look for photos now, we're not looking for a particular face, a particular expression. It just has to snap us to attention. Just the essence.
Yeah.
We're looking for the essence. And so that's what so fundamentally SeeYou247 means I'm looking to see these brothers emanating a joy 24/7.
24 hours a day, 7 days
24 hours a day, 7 days. I learned that from the youngsters. You know, probably it's not even a hip turn of phrase anymore, but
I mean, 24/7. I think that's probably your generation, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But so once you started to look for those images, then what happened? What happened after she started to find these images for you?
Well, besides getting cold-blooded chills up and down my spine, because she was like, bro, look what I found. Whap, whip, whip, it was flying.
She said, bro.
Probably not, but I'm saying. Everybody say bro when I'm recounting something.
You right.
But besides just getting totally thrilled, I mean, I got so emotional, frankly. I just said, I knew they were out there. So we got a couple of grants from something called the Pollination Project. One was to start an Instagram campaign. So we created the Instagram site, SeeYou247, at SeeYou247. We started putting up beautiful framed versions of some of those historical photos. The frames were created by my great, great friend and colleague, Julie Ray, down in Arizona, of all places. And we work remotely, and she just kills them. Julie Ray Creative is her name. She designed all my stuff, the Black Man Happiness website, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, but that's
Julie's awesome. She's
Julie
great.
Is awesome. And her daughter is even more awesome. But anyway, so we started that, and for more than 100 weeks, we've been posting either historical photos framed or
images of you,
pictures of myself smiling.
What I also love, what I also love is in that campaign, all the pictures that you've been posting, you keep them black and white. Like even the pictures of yourself, you put them in black and white because you want to keep, consistency and all of that. But because the historical photos, most of them are in black and white, that emanation is so much more powerful because you're not distracted by the color. You're not distracted by like the reds or the blues or whatever. It's something about a black and white photo that forces you to look at the image as it is and to see and feel what the eyes are saying. And so the historical photos that you've posted have been magnificent, not to mention with the framing that, Julie created, so Yeah. So, okay. So now you got this campaign going. You've done this for
Right.
over 100, like maybe what,
Consecutive
over
weeks.
52 weeks. Yeah. So
A
over a
hundred.
year and a half
That's
now.
2 years. Yeah. And just for facts, the first season of the campaign, when I included photos of myself, I did keep them in color. The
Oh,
second
okay.
season,
Okay.
I started dropping out the color on my photos. But
Gotcha.
I think your eye is better than mine, because I honestly never even thought of my photos now being in concert and convergence with the historical photos. So I'm gonna dab you across the country with that.
Well, I mean, I did take a photography class.
Yes, you
Black and white
did.
photography was my thing, in the dark room with actual film.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I know a little bit about
Yes, you do. And
photography.
nobody's trying to dis. So what's the other part of this campaign? So we got 2 grants. The second grant was to extend the IG campaign, which we've been doing. But the beautiful second part.
I just gotta,
Go ahead,
I
jump
gotta
in. Come on,
mention.
jump in. I
Hold
like to
up.
get hyped.
Actually, just a daughter thing. I love how you're using IG instead of calling it the graham
The
cracker as
graham
you
cracker.
used to refer to Instagram. Sorry, that was a daughter moment where I was like, look at me with some IG campaign instead of calling it, I've got to get on the graham cracker today and make a post. Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I had to bring y'all into the daddy daughter world because those are the things I deal with when okay,
Okay.
okay.
Here's the second thing that we created as part of the campaign. It's a publication. I call it a proof of concept because I want to demonstrate through this sample to a publisher that it's ready to be expanded into a fine art coffee table book. Because I want to be able to get this in the hands of my grandchildren and my sons and you. And I want to get this in the hands. Let me tell you something, really. This is the truth. So as the year ended in 2020, I got a chance to go on a Zoom. I was the host of a Zoom webinar sponsored by Poets and Writers, the great national organization about writers. When we got to the Q&A, one of the guests asked if she could have her grandson ask a question. 20-year-old young man. I didn't even know he was on the thing. I said, well, that's exactly why we're doing the project, of course. He actually said he had never felt happiness. 20 years old. And he asked about something to the effect of how could he find different ways to be happier. Now, I won't go into all the full responses, but I'm simply saying that's not the first time I've had cats say to me something like that.
Yeah.
I hope you can find one. I don't think there can be a black man who's happy. Blah blah. I don't mean happy-go-lucky, skipping and dancing and minstrel showing. I mean just genuinely emanating their own personal inner power and joy.
Yeah.
That's why Helen's turn of phrase is so magical for me, because when you say emanating a joy, sense of joy, that young man, how he finds happiness is very particular versus how I do it, versus how your brother does it, versus how some other person. And I believe that individuality is what makes SeeYou247 so special, because I'm able to find that emanation through the lived experiences of unique individual dudes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just hashtag Black Joy generic. It's hashtag Peter Harris's Black Joy.
Yeah.
It's hashtag your brother's Black Joy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to all have the same kind of approach to this stuff. Anyway, I had to get that in because that's my little mini rant.
No, I mean, it's not mini. You don't mini rant. You have long rants. That's your life. I love it though. It makes you you. No, but I am actually I agree with you because when you started the Black Man of Happiness campaign, like project, when you started that and then you wrote the book, which for those of you just go to Black Man of Happiness. What is it? The Black Man or Black Man of Happiness?
Blackmanofhappiness.com.
Just want to make sure I get it out there.
That's right.
So
Beautiful.
blackmenofhappiness.com, you can actually
Yes.
purchase the book. So yes,
Yes, you
plug.
can. Right on the
Purchase the book
homepage.
right on the homepage. But when you wrote that book
Yes.
and then you did the project because you did a video series where you actually were
Yes, sir.
recording men's answers to this.
Mm-hmm.
I was always struck by it because at the time, if you did this in what 2000, when did
2010.
you? Yeah, I
2010.
was 30 years old, and I'm
Wow.
wandering, looking to identify like happy Black men and see what men. But also, it was really about the vulnerability that you allowed men to have in the space of answering that question, because you tapped into them realizing first reactions like, what, ain't no happy Black man,
Mm-hmm.
but to
Mm-hmm.
sit in front of a camera and record
Right.
the nuances and the layers of what happiness was in their lives, and
Yes.
even if they didn't initially think that they had it, but to find those joys, I think it was a natural progression for you to now want to showcase the historical photos. So I just want everyone to know, and I'm a brag on my pops. My dad has been a cultural worker. I'm 41 years old. My father has been a cultural worker for my whole life. I grew up.
Mm.
I'm the blackety black family, right? You light skin, Southeast DC, but I'm gonna tell you, he
Yeah.
opened his mouth. He ain't never passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, look, Dad, stop
Yeah.
laughing because I'm serious. I'm
Conversate.
serious.
You
I'm serious.
conversate.
I'm conversating
That's right.
about
No,
my
I'm
respect
saying.
for you. But it also comes down to the realities of the power. He's been talking about manhood since before it was cool. He's been writing about Black fatherhood when the Black father was considered missing in action. He was talking, and this was also a man who, still was divorced, but he was never identifying himself as a missing father because he recognized the nuances within that. And so as the product of this man and as a product of his experience, I mean, I grew up, he was giving me books. Nobody wanted these books when you like 8 years old. I wanted a Barbie doll. Like I wanted toys. But now as an adult,
Right.
I recognize the beauty of having knowledge about Black male and female writers and the power of our history. And I'm looking at now when you're on social media and we see, I love, Black joy,
Me too.
Black boy joy. And I love all of
Mm-hmm.
this. Black girl magic, all this is such an empowering space.
Yes.
And I'm saying, as a woman who has, prior to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
when
Jeez.
all you had was the written word, whether it was in poetry, creative essay, and novels, my dad has been in that space, and which means I have been in that space. So it's a
Yes.
beautiful thing, I believe, that when I see my dad following those goals to really empower Black manhood and Black joy and Black happiness and Black man or Black men in their happiness, it's a beautiful thing to see it now coming forward, especially for younger generations. I have nephews, he has grandsons, and this doesn't stop though. I think it also
Right.
it overlaps into Black female joy, because if I'm
Yes.
seeing Black men that I want to partner with, and I'm seeing their happiness and I'm seeing their connections, and it makes me happy as a Black woman. And so my humble brag is that my dad is a pioneer, whether anybody realizes it or not. I'm going to say it out loud because
That's
he ain't new to this. And I'm
right.
saying
Right.
this so folks know he ain't new to this. This ain't just because you
Yeah.
just hearing about it.
I go to work, huh?
He go to work. He handle his business. Okay. My pop's
That's
been
great.
handling
Thank
his
you, dear.
business. So
Thank you,
yeah.
dear. Well, I mean, listen, that's all. That's how I was imprinted by the men and women who were doing their work when I first had you guys in my youth. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know how to be a father. I don't know. I mean, and then you make mistakes, but one of the things that I always knew is that I was always going to do this creative work. And I was always going to convert whatever I was going through into cultural production. And so the Fatherhood Magazine in the 80s was because I was going through a divorce and I was arguing with moms and, trying to build new things. And, And so what better way for me emotionally was to just write about it. And I did. I had, we did, Genetic Dancers was the name of the magazine, several issues of Black meditation on fatherhood and the artistic character of being a father, letting the frictions sculpt you into being a better man. And it's the same way with this. Of course, I want to see happy energy. My angle is Black men and boys, but it's really for community service. It's community health, And the great thing about this publication that I'm super proud about is that we have a gorgeous photo of Stokely Carmichael sitting on a porch in Alabama in 1965. And he's holding the hand of this elder, and they're laughing. And Helen and I found the photographer, we cited that photo because I was finding the photo on social media with no attribution. I didn't know where it was from. I didn't know who took the photo. And I sort of asked Helen, I said, all right, time to I said, if we don't find any other picture, let's find this photo. We found it at the Library of Congress. She got so hyped, she hyped the Library of Congress staff.
Nice.
And when we thought we had reached a dead end, the Library of Congress staff person wrote her back and said, Eureka, we found it. We
Come
know
on,
where
library
it is.
services.
Come on, librarians. Don't play with no library. I love librarians.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. So, so we found that photo, and it was the perfect photo for me to come right to the crux of this stuff, which is not so much as what is a happy Black man, but why should we be focusing on Black men and happiness in the middle of this chaos and carnage?
Yes.
And I said in the introduction, I wrote, the proof of concept gives you the breakdown. And when we get this thing onto people's coffee tables, if they still have them, you'll see it. But in a nutshell, I said, well, first off, are we supposed to never be happy just because folk trying to kill us or are killing us or enslaved us? Of course we are. If you look at this history, you know that the reason we maintain was as much because of our inner fortitude, our cultural distinctions, our ability to convert energy, ugly energy, into all kinds of cultural production, jazz, etc., blues, quilts, resistance, poisonings, whatever you want to do. So I tell people all the time that the reason people sort of ask, well, why should we even think about happiness during a chaotic cultural moment or carnage, is because they're thinking of happiness as zippity-doo-dah. Not as happiness, as Thomas Jefferson said, an unalienable right. And here's a dude who, quote unquote, owned 600 plus people, during his lifetime.
Unquote.
No, what I'm saying, he didn't.
Well, yeah,
own
you're
them.
right.
He legally owned
he
them.
legally thought he was owning people.
So
you right.
I do. And in fact, the book you mentioned, Black Man of Happiness, in pursuit of my unalienable right. That quote is from Jefferson's turn of phrase in the Declaration. And that book was designed by our wonderful friend, Michelle Taboo. And she chose a great picture that you took of me walking down the street. She kept the photo. No, she put the photo in black and white. So she was ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
You had me giving me my Denzel look.
I mean, you did it. I just captured the moment.
Yeah, it was cool. But anyway, I celebrate these men and women who have been, on this journey, because this is a journey. This is an epic odyssey, digging in. And, by the time this comes out, the Chicago Quarterly Review will have a brand new issue out in June. And guess what? I got this beautiful essay in there talking about this project, thanks to the editor, the magical editor novelist Charles Johnson. So
Yeah.
anyway, I give people due because I can't do this. I'm not doing this by
Yeah, no,
myself.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great thing, and then also, I just I know where you want this project to go, and I know
Yes.
that you have visions of it being a mobile art project that can be
Yes.
in different galleries and possibly
Yes.
on the sides of buildings. So I know
Absolutely.
the vision that you have for this, and I look forward to seeing it unfold. And I also, love and appreciate everybody that's always on your team. Folks that support my dad, I love them. So,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
respect for me. I think for me, I just want people to understand where this comes from. And this is
Mm.
that this is not a fad. You ain't doing this just
Mm-hmm.
be in the
Mm-hmm.
streets or be cool or to go with,
Right.
what's happening now. This is your legacy. This is your life that you have
Mm-hmm.
been living, and you've been walking the walk.
Mm-hmm.
You've been talking the talk. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful. I'm glad you're my dad. I'm glad I get to witness it. I'm glad I get to be a part of it. I think
Right.
conversating, I
As you
think
are. Absolutely.
yeah, I think conversating with Pops and Ade is a part of that. I think the TEDx talk that we've done, our work, everything that we do
Mm-hmm.
is part of your legacy in leading a life as a happy Black man, as the happy Black man, as a man who emanates joy in his own right, even in the midst of chaos. Like, you literally wrote a book called The Black Man of
Mm.
Happiness in the middle of losing your house. If there is nothing else I can say about the truth of
Mm.
what you're talking about coming from and emanating out of you, is showcasing that you
Mm.
ain't talking about no kicking the heels up and skipping and snapping like this is what happiness means. You're talking
Mm-hmm.
about the true root of what happiness means
Mm.
coming from inside, even in the midst of negativity and
Yes.
chaos and turmoil happening around you. And so
Yeah.
I really just want people to understand
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's my dad, man. That's my pops.
That's
That's
cool. I
my dude.
appreciate that.
That's my guy right there. So
Well,
yeah, that's
and I
you know.
do. I know we're gonna wrap it up in a second, but I want to say this too. So what I love is that we'll give each other these opportunities. So we celebrate restorative notions and all the work you're doing, and we celebrate Black man of happiness and emanating. But so let's make sure we know that in this conversating, that
Yeah.
if you can articulate the things you're articulating that celebrates me as a human being, as a pops, role model, whatever the case may be, I don't take it for granted. I'm very humbled by it. Uh, if anybody says anything constructive or says I've done anything constructive, I have students sometimes that sneak up and I see them in public and they say, "Yeah, Mr. Harris, you said blah blah blah." I don't even remember it. Not because I'm forgetful, but because when we're doing this work, we're doing it for the greater evolution
Yeah.
of capacity in the men and women you're coming in contact. And let's make sure we tell all the mugs. I have made many a mistake. I haven't been
Absolutely.
happy all the damn time by
Yeah.
any means.
Yeah.
I have been a brooder. I have hurt people. I have caused pain. I
Mhm.
have made decisions that left you. We said it in your beautiful and powerful and painful thesis. I went back to that moment when I'm squatting in front of you
Mm.
uh, in 1984, and I'm leaving you literally at the airport, because of some other legal stuff that wound up having me take your brother. And so I don't ever want people to think that even in this genuine praise that I
Yeah.
don't know my mistakes, I don't know my humanity, my flaws, because out of all of this has come this relationship. Out of all of this has come conversating, and has come our commitment through some heinous stuff,
Mhm.
uh, but also some difficult, nuanced stuff that yes, we still want to be friends. We still want to be a father and daughter. We still want to be collaborators. We want to be creative professionals together. And I want to be supportive of the stuff. And I am. I know I am. I'm not even tripping. I love hearing you talk about the beauty that you're trying to give to young women in particular. I know the mentoring you've done for several young people. So it's a mutual love fest. And I accept the praise because it's no okey doke. I don't have to step into okie doke to get this praise.
Yeah.
And you don't have to step into okie doke when I dap you. So for me, SeeYou247 is my sort of symbolic way and creative way to say this is, as the great novelist John Oliver Killens, who's been long dead now, y'all look him up. He used to talk about our cultural work being long distance work. I'm a long distance runner. Now I ain't mad at you because you ran sprints in college.
And school and middle school.
Okay. But I'm saying in terms of this work, this is a long haul. And I don't expect to wave a magic wand and show a beautiful book or beautiful photos. And all of a sudden, wow, people stop getting murdered unjustly. But I do expect to contribute to a loving, dynamic ecology and social setting so that we can stay inspired to fight back, to fight for things, as so many of my teachers have taught me. We know what we're against, but what are we for?
Yeah.
What are we for? And what will we do to build that for?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also like, you know, we have so much trauma informed everything. Trauma. It's like, well, when are we going to heal? Can we focus on the healing too?
Yeah. How about celebration informed?
Yeah, celebration informed. That's, you know, so I think it's and that's a whole nother topic. So we'll go into that later. But I definitely just want to say thanks, Dad, for all you do.
Thank you, baby.
SeeYou247 is beautiful campaign. Go check it out. Go follow him at SeeYou247. Go to
on the gram
on the gram. Oh, now he back to the gram because you know he gotta throw that in there. But definitely check out also his website, blackmanofhappiness.com.
That's right.
Check us out at Pops and Ade. So we appreciate everybody for listening and thank you for being a part of this journey. And thank you, Pops. I'm gonna go read a book now because you know I don't be reading stuff. He done wrote so many books, y'all. He be writing books.
I have not written that many books, but I have written a few.
He wrote enough, and there's a few of them I need to read. I got dedications though. But then I might want to read one from the. I read part
hilarious. Of it. That's okay. It's not. This is a beautiful conversating episode. It's not to mess with you.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much. I'll read when I'm ready. Thanks everybody so much, and thanks, Dad. And we'll talk soon.
Love you, babe.
Back soon. All right.
That's right.
Bye. Love you too, Dad. Bye.
You've been listening to Conversating with Pops and Ade. We're your hosts, Peter Harris.
And I'm Adenike Harris. Please, wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe, share with your friends, and give us feedback. Also, don't forget to follow us at our Instagram page at Pops and Ade, POPSNADE. Facebook, we are Peter and Adenike Harris. And you can also find us on YouTube where you can see other videos of work that we have done, including our TED Talk entitled Healing versus Retaliation. Thanks again and come back soon.